I want to share with you a personal story of what went on with me. I had a friend of mine who worked at a church right here in Katy, Texas. She called me one Friday at about 1:30 in the afternoon, and she said, "Debbie, I think I've got a trafficking situation." She had known that I had been in the anti-trafficking world. She said, "I need help." She said, I thought an 18-year-old came to me, and she said, "I need money to get back home. I'm not able to get back home to Laredo. My mom and them are there, and she's turned sick. I came up here to see my boyfriend, and I now need to get back. Can you help me?" The church went through some questions, vetted them, got her a bus ticket, took a picture of her, and at the last minute she said to her, "Let me get your mom's email address. I'll send her an email and let her know when you'll arrive and that you're getting there." She got back to her office. An email came back and said, "Thank you so much for letting me know. I'll be sure to be there and meet her. Signed, Daniel." The panic struck. What had happened is this 13-year-old, middle-aged, Caucasian child had been groomed on social media to build a relationship with a 27-year-old man running a major cartel out of Mexico. The parents had tried to stop, cut out all internet access, notified the school, done all that they could. She had been given a planter phone and was using it in the library of the junior high school. The groomer that was giving her the phone, the recruiter, was also helping her to get the access and build that relationship. This, what we call Romeo, was further developing this trust relationship with her and building that wedge that Kelly talked about between her and her parents and her family. He told her how much he loved her, how much he valued her, and how she would belong to him. 3 tools of what I call our mean ways of defense. Our children need a baby blanket, a blue ribbon, and a letter jacket. If we don't give it to them, traffickers will. And he told her, "I love you unconditionally. You'll have my baby blanket. You will have so much value with me, I'll buy you everything that you need. Not only that, but I'll put a letter jacket on you. You'll belong to me. I'll even go so far as to tattoo you so nobody else can have you. The back of your neck, the inside of your lip, wherever else any body part is accessible, so that whoever tries to come back and have sex with you, they'll know you're mine." They take in turn what is good for one step off. We have to become defensive. So what happened was we realized that this child had gotten onto that bus. She was headed for Laredo. We notified police along the way because we're in partnerships with them. We got them engaged and began to pull cameras. We notified the bus system. She got off in Weimar, Texas. The groomer met her there, drove her to another city, and put her on another bus. Within 24 hours, she was in Mexico City. I am here to tell you that because of the proactive action, she was rescued. But what happens at that point is rehabilitation has to take place. The trauma that Kelly mentioned originated from some probably biological relationship where they were probably more than likely sexually abused. When this trauma occurs, development stops. Your brain, the cortex of your brain at that point in time goes what we call on fire. So if the cortex of your brain is your fist, it is flared. When this happens, you cannot function normally. The cortex is there to stabilize and allow you to grow and develop developmental cycles. We're going to have a forensic nurse here in just a few minutes, and I'm going to bridge the gap here with this. When a child goes through trauma, their brain then goes into this fire cortex mode. It is in survival mode. When you are in survival mode, you're more susceptible to the trauma. Lori's shaking her head. You are more susceptible to the deceitful tactics that a trafficker will use. So then at that point in time, you move into what your brain does is fight, flight, or freeze. I encourage you to watch for these things with the same factors that Kelly was telling you about. When you talk with a child and they begin to get aggressive or defensive, pay attention. If they then try and have conversations with them, I see some of the survivors shaking their heads. When you begin to have a conversation with them and they go into retreat, they hide, they will not converse, pay attention. If you have a child that is running away, they are the most susceptible category for predators. As you heard Senator Cruz talk about, within 48 hours, a child is normally picked up by a trafficker. I'm also here to tell you that sadly, the odds of rescuing them are 1 in 100. It's a statistic that is actually remaining the same. Part of that is because there are so many more coming in. Part of it is because traffickers are becoming much more aware. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the second largest revenue generating industry in the world. It is second only to gun running. Why? And drugs. Why? Because this propagates them. You can trip a child quicker, easier, and more times than you can selling cocaine. We will have law enforcement talk a little bit more about that as well. And you can do it multiple times. It's big business. We're going to have survivors here today that will talk a little bit about it and what that looks like. But I'm here to tell you, paying attention, as Kelly said, getting in your kids' business. Parents coming together and saying, if your child says, you're the only parent that looks at my phone, say, no, it's not. Would you like for me to call some of the others and we'll discuss it? Do it together. The other thing about your phones, they may be able to delete some of the action, but if you figure out with that phone when you get it how to take and study battery usage, you cannot eliminate the information of what is being pulled on battery usage on your phones. You can eliminate history, but the apps show up as to what is taking away the battery usage. When you look at that, you'll begin to identify where your kids are spending time on their phones. The other great thing, like Kelly talked about, be able to turn that phone off, make an agreement with a contract that says, during this time to this time, your phone is mine. Have them sign the contract that they will do that, and then you have the ability at that point to have open permission and access to the phone that you own, by the way. If I'm paying for it, I have access to it. And help their brain, help their bodies, help our society to be whole and healthy. You're going to hear more and more about it today, and we're excited to share that with you. In the rehabilitative work that we do, many of the stories are the same. When their brain is on fire, it takes trust to overcome that trauma. We have to work to build trust. We have to put people in our kids' lives who will help to develop that trust. We have to keep law enforcement informed, medical instruments, devices, people in the medical field informed and equipped with the information.